quiet path of awareness. There is a simple truth. Not every shadow deserves your light. When envy surrounds you, do not react with fire. Do not speak with anger. Instead, create stillness within yourself. Imagine salt, pure, grounding, ancient. It does not fight impurity. It preserves what is clean and dissolves what is harmful over time. In the same way, place a boundary around your peace. Speak less. Observe more. Let your silence become like salt in water, quiet, steady, powerful. Those who carry envy will eventually feel uncomfortable in the presence of your calmness, not because you attacked them, but because you stopped feeding their storm. Freeze them out, not with hatred, but with distance, not with revenge, but with inner clarity. And remember, the most powerful protection is not what you do to others, but what you refuse to let into your mind. Stay calm instead of reacting when faced with envy or negativity. Avoid anger and emotional reactions. Choose inner stillness instead. When you are surrounded by envy or negativity, the first and most important practice is to remain calm instead of reacting. Most people instinctively respond to hostile energy with anger, defense, or explanation. But this only strengthens the conflict and binds your mind to the same lower energy. True strength begins when you pause within yourself and choose not to be pulled into that cycle. In that moment, you become aware that reactions are not mandatory. They are choices. By staying calm, you protect your inner clarity and prevent others from controlling your emotional state. Calmness is not weakness. It is discipline. It is the ability to observe without being disturbed, to witness without being shaken. When someone tries to provoke you through envy, misunderstanding, or subtle harm, your silence inside becomes a shield that cannot be broken. You do not need to prove anything or win anything in that moment. Instead, you allow the situation to pass through you like wind passing through an empty space. Over time, this practice trains your mind to remain steady even in uncomfortable situations, and that steadiness becomes your greatest form of protection and power in life. Use silence as protection. Speaking less and observing more creates a strong boundary that protects your peace. Silence is not just the absence of speech. It is a powerful form of protection that guards your energy from unnecessary disturbance. When you speak less, you reveal less of your inner world, and in doing so, you create a natural boundary that envious or negative people cannot easily cross. Many conflicts begin with words, explanations, arguments, and reactions that feed emotional fire. But when you choose silence, you break that cycle before it begins. Silence allows you to observe people and situations clearly without becoming entangled in them. It gives you space to understand intentions without being rushed by emotion. In this state, your awareness becomes sharper and your judgment becomes clearer, like still water reflecting reality without distortion. Silence helps you see things as they truly are. Envious energy often depends on engagement. It grows when you respond and weakens when you withdraw. By not participating in unnecessary conversations or emotional exchanges, you preserve your inner peace. Over time, this quiet discipline builds a strong internal shield. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself constantly, because your silence itself becomes a statement of strength, maturity, and self-control that others can neither manipulate nor disturb easily. Set healthy emotional boundaries. Distance yourself from envious or toxic behavior without engaging in conflict or revenge. Setting emotional boundaries is one of the most important forms of self-protection when dealing with envy or negative energy. It does not mean hating others or wishing them harm. It simply means deciding how close others are allowed to come to your peace of mind. When people carry envy, they often try to pull you into their emotional world through criticism, comparison, or subtle negativity. If you have no boundaries, you absorb that energy and it begins to affect your thoughts, emotions, and confidence. But when you establish clear inner limits, you learn to step back without anger or explanation. You do not need to fight or convince anyone. You simply reduce access to your attention and emotions. This distance creates clarity. You begin to see that not every comment deserves a response, and not every behavior deserves your energy. Emotional boundaries also protect your time and focus, allowing you to invest in growth rather than conflict. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner stability. You remain kind, but not available for disturbance. You become present, but not easily shaken. In this way, boundaries act like an invisible wall that preserves your calm while still allowing you to move through the world with awareness. Let calmness replace confrontation. Like salt that preserves and purifies, your steady presence naturally weakens negativity around you over time. Calm presence has a quiet power that does not need argument or force to be effective. When you remain steady in the face of envy or negativity, you stop feeding the emotional reactions that such energy depends on. Many people expect a response, anger, defense, or explanation. But when they receive calm instead, the pattern breaks. Over time, this calmness becomes uncomfortable for those who thrive on disturbance, because there is nothing for them to hold onto. Like salt, gently changing the nature of water without violence, your composed presence slowly shifts the atmosphere around you. You do not need to confront or prove anything. Your stability speaks for itself. This kind of energy is not about winning against others, but about not being moved by them. When you maintain inner stillness, situations that once felt heavy begin to lose their influence. You start to notice that negativity weakens when it finds no reaction to sustain it. Calmness is not passive, it is active awareness, a conscious choice to remain centered regardless of external behavior. With time, this practice builds an unshakable foundation within you. You move through life with less disturbance, fewer emotional entanglements, and a stronger sense of control over your inner world. which becomes your true source of strength. Protect your mind above everything. The strongest defense is not what you do to others, but what you allow or refuse to allow. The most important protection in life is not physical distance from others, but mental discipline over your own thoughts. When envy or negativity appears around you, it is not the outer situation that harms you first. It is how long you allow it to live inside your mind. If you keep replaying words, actions, or intentions, you slowly give power to what should have remained outside your peace. That is why guarding your mind is essential. You learn to notice thoughts without attaching to them, like clouds passing across the sky without changing its nature. Not every opinion deserves reflection, and not every energy deserves attention. When you consciously choose what to focus on, you regain control over your emotional world. This is where true freedom begins. Not in changing others, but in mastering your response to them. Over time, you understand that most disturbance is temporary, but the mind tends to make it permanent. By refusing to hold on to negativity, you weaken its effect completely. You remain aware, but not absorbed, present, but not influenced. This practice gradually builds deep inner stability, where outside noise no longer dictates your inner state. In that space, peace becomes natural, and your strength comes from clarity rather than reaction or resistance.